Childhood trauma can feel like a weight that you carry throughout your life. It shapes who you are, affects how you see the world, and can even impact the relationships you build as an adult. But healing is possible, and so is forgiving your past. In the next few minutes, we'll explore powerful steps to help you confront those wounds, build a life of peace, and reclaim the strength that's always been inside you. But first, let's get real. Can you remember the last time you felt truly at peace with your past? If not, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to start healing, step by step. Before you can heal, you have to acknowledge the trauma. Sounds simple, right? Well, it's not. Trauma often hides beneath layers of defense mechanisms we've built up over the years. You might have been taught to push your pain aside, to ignore it, or even worse, to believe that it's not a big deal. But here's the thing, if you don't confront your past, it will haunt your present. And here's the scary part, it can affect every relationship you build and every choice you make moving forward. So, how do you acknowledge trauma? Start by recognizing how it shows up in your life today. Are you overly defensive? Do you struggle with trust? Is there a pattern of sabotaging your own happiness? The key is awareness. Take a moment to sit with these questions. Are you ready to face what's been holding you back? Do you feel resistance when these questions come up? If so, that's a signal that your trauma may be affecting you more deeply than you realize. You may also notice these patterns in your reactions to seemingly small situations. Maybe you feel an overwhelming sense of anxiety when someone raises their voice, or perhaps you shut down when things start to get too emotionally intense. These are clues that your past is impacting your present in ways you might not fully understand yet. Recognizing these signs is the first step in taking your power back. Yeah, I know, it's a heavy question. But trust me, confronting this is the first step toward freedom. You might be thinking, okay, but what does this look like in practice? Well, let's talk about practical steps to begin your healing journey. Now that you've acknowledged the trauma, it's time to take action. Healing is not an overnight process. It's something you have to nurture over time, like planting a seed and watching it grow. Let's break it down into clear, actionable steps. The first one is journaling. It sounds simple, right? But there's power in putting your thoughts on paper. Start with a question. How did my childhood affect me today? Let your thoughts flow freely. Don't hold back. It might be uncomfortable, and it might even bring up emotions that you've avoided for years. But remember, the only way out is through. This exercise helps you process and externalize what's been stuck inside you for years, allowing you to look at it from a distance instead of carrying it around in your mind. When I say journal, I don't mean just writing a couple of sentences about your day. I mean digging deep. Reflect on how your past still shows up in your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors today. Don't judge yourself for what comes up. Allow the words to flow, even if they don't make perfect sense at first. Sometimes the most profound healing comes from the raw, unfiltered truth. Next, let's talk about therapy. I know therapy can seem intimidating for some people. It's a big step, but remember, you're not broken, you're human. A therapist is someone who can help you unpack your trauma in a safe space, with no judgment. They are trained to guide you through the process of healing and can offer you coping strategies you might not have thought of on your own. Therapy is an investment in your well-being, and it can provide you with insights and tools that will benefit you for the rest of your life. It's okay to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to acknowledge that you don't have to do everything alone. And let's be real, healing isn't meant to be done in isolation. We all need support from others, especially when we're facing our most difficult wounds. But even beyond therapy, surrounding yourself with supportive people is crucial. Healing is a group effort. You don't have to do this alone. Find people who will hold space for your growth and encourage you through the tough days. These are the people who will see the best in you even when you can't see it yourself. They will remind you of your worth when you forget. These people will be the ones cheering you on when you take those brave steps toward healing. Now, let's get into something that might be even harder than healing: forgiveness. The word alone can stir up all sorts of emotions, right? It's probably one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. But here's the catch. It doesn't mean condoning what happened. It doesn't mean telling yourself that what was done to you was okay. Forgiveness is not about letting the person who hurt you off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the weight of anger, bitterness, and resentment. Holding on to that pain is like carrying a backpack full of bricks. Sure, it's heavy, but it's also yours to carry. The moment you choose to forgive, you're letting go of that weight. Not for the person who hurt you, but for you. Let me say that again. Forgiveness is for you. It's a process, though. Don't expect instant relief. The journey of forgiveness isn't linear. Some days you might feel ready to forgive. Other days you might not feel ready at all. And that's okay. Be patient with yourself. Healing and forgiveness take time, and they happen in their own time. Every small act of forgiveness brings you closer to peace. It might be as simple as choosing not to dwell on anger when something triggers you, or it might be a deeper, more significant shift where you choose to forgive someone who's wronged you in a life-changing way. Whatever it looks like for you, take it one step at a time. The most important part is that you're doing it for yourself. And now, let's talk about how you can build a life of peace, not just from the past, but from here on out. Here's where the real magic happens. Okay, this is where the magic happens. You've acknowledged your trauma, your healing, and you've started to forgive. But the real transformation happens when you build your future. Here are some practical tips for healing that you can start using today to keep moving forward. Mindfulness practices. Whether it's meditation, deep breathing, or yoga, these practices help you stay grounded and present. When you're not consumed by your past, you can make better decisions in the present. Inner child work. This is all about reconnecting with your younger self, the version of you that was hurt. Speak kindly to that part of you. Give it love. Heal it. One of the most powerful things you can do is to embrace your inner child. Boundaries. This is a big one. Create clear boundaries in your relationships to protect your peace. You have the right to say no without guilt. Establishing boundaries is a vital part of healing. Remember, this journey is yours. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a victory. And speaking of small victories, let me leave you with this final thought before we wrap up. Remember, you are not defined by your past. You are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes. You are the sum of your courage, your resilience, and your capacity to heal. Healing is a journey, and every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward reclaiming your power. So, what's your next step? Share your story in the comments below, and let's inspire one another. I believe in you, and I'm here with you every step of the way. And if you're ready to take bold actions towards building your future, check out my next video on how to overcome fear and take the actions that change your life. I'll see you there.